Okay, so spoiler video for Breaking Dawn Part 2, basically talking about why I really hated the ending. Alright, first off, when I say the ending, I mean more the climax. The very, very end, I actually like personally. I mean, Alice having her vision about what's going to happen in the future, and then how they finish with saying, we have all the time we want forever, and then the pages all of a sudden appear and the word forever is silent and kind of fades in the end. That I liked. I mean, I'm not a super big fan of Twilight, obviously, but as far as finishing the Twilight series in a nice closure-ish kind of way, I thought that was a very nice touch. But this has to do with the fact that they gave us this fight scene that turned out to not be true or not actually happen, and they actually just went with making us think that it is, but just really just go with how it ends in the book. So why I hate it? I hated it. Well, first off, I wanted them to actually fight and destroy the Volturi anyway, long before this movie was even close to close to coming out, because I just hated the Volturi. I thought they were just these evil jerks. They may be, you know, the law enforcement for these vampires, but just what they do and how they do it and how just obviously cold-hearted, no pun intended, with, you know, killing people and all that stuff, especially when they killed that newborn vampire at the end of Eclipse. That's where I was like, that's not okay. These guys shouldn't be alive. Which is especially how I felt when I first read the book of Breaking Dawn, when they actually just talked and talked and talked, how shown witnesses, then Alice brings those two people and everything's fine. They just go their separate ways and just say, yeah, maybe we'll fight them one day, but we'll just live happily ever after knowing that there was no fight. No, I mean, this is the end of a franchise. This is the end of your series. This is the end of your story. This is probably coming from someone who is more used to them defeating the main villain, all that. You know, I mean, I love fantasy or adventure stories, or, you know, stories in general where, you know, you defeat the bad guy. I mean, who doesn't? And when this film was starting to come out, I was hearing rumors that they were going to change the ending, stuff like that, so I had my fingers crossed that it would be they actually fight and destroy the Volturi. So, and if they didn't, I'll just go, no, I'll know. I had my fingers crossed. I figured they probably wouldn't actually destroy the Volturi, but I just couldn't help but hope. So, the thing is, though, the thing about the ending isn't so much about what they were doing so much as how they were doing it. I mean, so they brought all their witnesses, and then Alice and Jasper come in, and he reads what's in her vision, and he's like, you're still going to destroy us. And so that's when they start the battle. And again, this isn't about what they were doing so much as how they were doing it. Because after that, they take her and Jasper hostage. Carlisle comes in and tries to stop them, but then his head is taken off, which we don't realize right away. Like, his body falls down after he and R.O., whatever his name is, get into the fight, and we think he's just there, but then all of a sudden they reveal it's his head, and you kind of get a shock. I for one, was like, you just took off his head. There's no threat, per se. You just take his head back into his body, and he's fine. but then they actually set him on fire, and that's where like, oh my gosh, they killed Carlisle! And that's when I was starting to go in shock and thinking they actually killed him, and that's when the actual battle started, and that was just awesome. I mean, you know, the action itself was really well done. You know, it was fast-paced, it was big, and it kept going bigger and bigger with, you know, all of a sudden there being lava and stuff like that. But in the process, other characters get killed. I mean, there was Seth and Lily, who eventually died, and there was Jasper kind of died. Jasper's death, actually, I didn't think was that big of a deal. I mean, unlike Carlisle, they just took his head off and not set him on fire. So when Alice was screaming that his head was taken off, I was like, dude, Alice, just finished killing the Volturi, put his head back on so he's, you know, healed and all that, and you'll go back to being the cute couple that everybody loves. Easy peasy, rice and cheesy. But anyway, so all these characters are getting killed, and I could feel my heart racing, partly because of, you know, the joy and excitement of this battle actually happening where they're killing the Volturi, but also still being in complete shock with them killing these characters, primarily Carlisle. So it was just really, really, really well done on the fact that they're actually killing characters on top of destroying the Volturi throughout this whole scene. I was bummed that they were killing these characters, but on a whole, as far as actual conflict and action and, you know, just a big climax, I thought it was awesome. And it just kept better and better when they started killing some Volturi characters. I mean, Dakota Fanning's character, I had a little problem with the choreography and choice of editing with how they killed her. Like, I kind of wanted... I actually forgot exactly how they did the editing, but when I remembered, I thought it was like, they could have... there's a way I think they should have done it to make it more... to make it bigger and just work more on the fact that this wolf is taking her head off, so she's finally dead. And then finally we get the leader. And he's facing Edward and Bella, and they're doing all these tricks and moves and stuff like that. And finally, they take his head off, and then they bring a torch, and so they're just about to set it right into his eyes, and you see the reflection of the fire in his eyes. And then we find out it was actually a vision. Mother fricker, was I pissed. I mean, while everyone else in the theater was going, oh, phew, oh, wasn't it cool when they did the reflection? I was like, and on the way home, I was just grumbling and grumbling over what they did. It was... I mean, if I let my anger get the better of me, for all I know, I could have been up all night just thinking about it. I mean, the only reason you're not seeing me yell at the top of my lungs with this video along with the review is because most of my ultimate anger was kind of, you know, I kind of lost when I had a good night's sleep after seeing the film. Because otherwise, I'm pretty sure I would just be yelling at my top of my lungs during both of these videos as if I found my own version of the Bat credit card as a Doug Walker wannabe. Because if they don't want to kill the Volturi, that's fine, but first of all, don't lead me on to thinking they were going to do that. If you're not going to actually kill the Volturi, just don't let us think they're killing the Volturi, because leading me to believe that they were actually going to do it was like an ultimate flip off right in front of me. Well, both hands and just flip me off right there. So it's just Now, I've had arguments with my mother and a friend of mine from my old job that maybe just sticking to the ending from the book is for the best. Like the friend from the old job, she argues that it's better that the Volturi live because, you know, yes, they're evil, but they're still the law enforcers. They're still, you know, making these laws to kind of protect the world with, you know, the whole existence of vampires and all that crap. And my mom especially thought that how I felt is something she thought not a lot of people were going to side with, considering even if they did do that, people would still hate this movie with all their being, considering that they killed those characters. With whether or not to kill the Volturi, I'll meet you a quarter of a way with that argument, because yeah, they're the enforcers, but they also really need to go. But with the argument of why these characters need to stay alive, I can get that. I really do. I mean, I like Carlisle and Jasper. I mean, I consider them and then Alice, but mostly, of course, Charlie to be among the characters that even the most venomous Twilight haters could actually like or get close to liking. So I understand with that concept of why that supposed ending should not have happened, and otherwise just is have the whole thing just be something to entertain the guys that are being dragged into the film, but dragged to go see the movie by their girlfriends. So I can understand that, but it's just as a film, no, as a story, it made more sense. It was just how they're doing with actual conflict, story, and just the way they were executing it. It just worked better. I mean, for all I know, the way I was feeling when that battle happened, I felt like this movie could have been something that could have been actually good, just on account of that ending. In fact, for all I know, for some people, that ending could have just made everything we put up with when it came to Twilight worth it. Just every single bit of it. Well, not every single bit of it. I mean, there's still New Moon and, well, still all the crap in Twilight, but some of it could have been worthwhile just on account of this movie with that supposed ending. But they didn't, and I was pissed at that. I will hate that they did that forever. I mean, I don't really care because, you know, I'm about to drink all my memories of Twilight away once I shoot the actual review to this movie. So okay, maybe not pissed forever, but it just was a stupid, gutsy move to lead us to believe that, and then all of a sudden just stick with all the remaining crap that actually happens in the book. So yeah, that's pretty much my 2 cents. So thank you for watching, and I will see you later.